Ba-dum-bum-bum. In this video, I'm going to show you guys a strategy that solo entrepreneurs and experts and coaches can use to get a lot of content with one long video. And so this is called the interview hack. You interview yourself using ChatGPT, and then those interview questions become great to repurpose with Opus Pro, which there's a link below this video. It just grabs your long video, creates a bunch of shorts out of it, so you get way more leverage. You can turn one video into 20 or 30 pieces of content, probably more. And so the way that I like to do it is I pick an interviewer and I have them interview me and just ask the questions that they would ask. Tim Ferriss is who I chose for this one. But if you have a interviewer that you like, just use him. Otherwise, use Tim Ferriss. And you can see that it came up with 20 questions. And so I gave it some context about who I am. If you don't know me, I'm Leland Redfield. I run the operator room. My wife and I built a seven-figure yoga membership, and I teach solo entrepreneurs and coaches, experts to acquire clients on social media. So how to grow your business if you're a solo entrepreneur. That's what I teach. Everything I learned from my wife's business, I teach that in the operator room, which is a free Skool. Link below this video, you can apply to join. And so one of the things that a lot of coaches struggle with is creating content. They don't know what to create. They don't know how to create it. And then they also just can't create enough of it because the number one problem most coaches have is they don't have enough leads. They need more people to know what they do. And so this is a really good way to spend 15 or 20 minutes and get just a tremendous amount of content that will perform pretty well as shorts. And so let's get started with the interview. I'm just going to answer these questions, and these should be valuable as well for you guys. And then I'm going to repurpose it. I'm going to grab the video, throw it into Opus. If you guys don't know Opus, right here. So I'll grab it, I'll throw it in here, and then it'll spit out a bunch of really good shorts for me based off these questions. And the questions will be good hooks, so the shorts will perform well. And so that'll be the framework. And I'm going to get started answering these interview questions, and then I will end this video and you'll see the process. So let's get started. So how do you explain to someone, how do you explain what you do to someone at a dinner party? So if people ask me what I do, I usually tell them that I help coaches and experts build memberships online. That's what I've been doing for the last 10 years. And then depending on what their expertise are, if they're in real estate, I'll talk about real estate people I've worked with. If they're in fitness, I'll tell them about the fitness people that I've worked with. And so I tell them I help coaches and experts build online businesses, online memberships. Where are you physically when you do your best work? What's intentionally missing from that setup? So this is a question about productivity. So how do I create my space so I can work? So the first thing I do is when I start working, I set an alarm for 100 minutes, and then I just focus for 100 minutes. I don't do anything else. And I work in my office, so I've got very limited stuff empty on my desk. My office is pretty clean except for some workout kettlebells and rubber bands in the sauna right next to me. And I don't have a lot of distractions. I keep the door closed because the cat comes in and distracts me. So I try to keep everything very simple, and I try to work on one thing at a time. So I usually have a piece of paper and a pen. I'll write down a list of things I need to do. I circle the one that I'm working on, and I work till that's complete. And then I work for 100 minutes, and then I go and eat sardines. You use the phrase bare ass minimum. How do you decide what the minimum effective dose is for your business? So how do you decide what the minimum effective dose is for your business? So you want to start with defining your TMI. So what is your target monthly income? And then you want to work backwards from how do you hit that target monthly income? And then what are the strategies that get you there the fastest and the simplest? And so the way that you find the bare minimum for your business is a lot of times it's you got to talk to coaches and experts who have been there before because you don't know what the minimum effective dose is. You don't know how many hours you need to put in. You don't know if you're wasting energy and effort because you don't know how to do, Instagram or YouTube correctly and so a lot of times you want to talk to experts who are where you want to be, and then they can help you figure out what the bare ass minimum dose is. But it's going to start with your TMI, your target monthly income. What's something that you stopped doing that actually improved your results? Boy, there are so many things. I think hacking things away is one of the best things you can do for your business. Hack away all non-essentials. And so we do that very regularly. In the last year, one of the things we did is we stopped writing new sales emails every month. So each month we would come up with a new offer, like an expiring discount, or we would do a free mat if you purchase a yoga membership. And we just simplified everything. We just do the same types of emails every month. We offer a 30-day free trial, and we have a new calendar each month. So that's why people join, because they want to join the new yoga calendar. And this has saved us a tremendous amount of time and stress and bandwidth each month because we don't need to come up with a new offer. We can just repeat it, tweak it a little bit. So it's simplified our system quite a bit. If I took everything away from you except for three tools, what would you keep? So we would keep Skool would be the platform where we monetize and we drive all the traffic. I would keep ChatGPT or some AI because you just need that as your second brain. And I could do a lot with those two. Those would probably be the two. And then probably MiniChat. If you're not using MiniChat on Instagram, it's very high leverage, simple to set up. And I think with those three tools, assuming I can also use YouTube and create videos, but either way, it would still be Skool and AI for sure. And then depending on what growth engine I chose, it might be MiniChat if I was going to be on Instagram. Oh, good question. What problem does MiniChat solve? What problem does MiniChat actually solve for you? So MiniChat helps you weaponize traffic on Instagram. So if you're getting traffic on Instagram, you need to get them to this next place so they can give you money or you can collect their email. And Instagram or MiniChat closes that gap from Instagram to your list. It also gets you more engagement on Instagram because people will comment. As you get more comments, more people will find you. So it gets you more leads. Essentially, it gets you more leads, more qualified buyers. A lot of people treat Instagram like a slot machine. You seem to treat it more like infrastructure. What's the mental model shift here? So I focus on evergreen content because one of the things with coaches and experts and solo entrepreneurs is that, as you create content, some of it's going to be good for longer periods of time, and some of it's going to be good for just today or a week, right? And so we focus on things that will have value over time, and we plant those seeds and you let them grow. And so the reason I like carousels specifically for Instagram right now is that they're easy to create if you know how to create them, especially using AI, so you can create them fast. But they're also these little seeds that get planted and then people save them and they share them and they will generate leads for you over time. So the carousels we're creating right now are going to generate leads for us over the next year, maybe even longer. And so the reason that's important is because if you're a solo entrepreneur and you actually want more free time, you need to be building assets that produce leads for you over time. Because the assets you produce now are going to give you the freedom later. Why do you prefer comments and conversations over links? Comments and conversations are better because what you're really doing is building loyalty and trust and belief. And so the more conversations you can have, the more people are going to connect with you, the more they're going to follow you, they're going to trust you. And if it's just links, then you're not building as loyal of a following. And so as we progress with AI, there's going to be tons of content, but there's going to be very limited connection and belief. And so conversations and comments help build that more. But links are fine too, as long as they're clicking where you want them to go. If someone is posting consistently and getting nothing from it, what is broken? So this is super funny because it's like the most common thing. So what is broken? Usually there's a couple things broken, but the first thing is usually a clear doctrine. And I use the term doctrine because it's very specific. A doctrine is what you believe, who the enemy is, how to fix it, and it's a belief system that you need to install in your social media because people are going to there's a gravity in how you see the world, and you need to both push people away and say like this isn't right for you if you believe this, and this is right for you if you believe this. So you need a doctrine for how you see the world. You need it to be clear because that's what actually attracts people. And then usually it's leaky buckets. So they're they're not succeeding because people go and they see their Instagram page, but they don't know where to click next. So one of the things a lot of solo entrepreneurs struggle with is clicks to close. How many clicks does it take to go from where they found you to close? And if you have lots of clicks in there, then it's a leaky bucket. People are going to get distracted. They're going to leave. So you want to minimize clicks to close. And then part of that is just clarity. What are you offering? How do they buy it? How do you articulate that in a way where you can get them to close, to buy, with as few clicks as possible? Why do you focus so heavy on carousels? Again, carousels are evergreen. They're great for explaining your doctrine. They're great for generating leads. They give you lots of authority. They have mass appeal to different audiences, and so lots of good reasons. But in terms of the time that it takes to create them and the result that they can drive for you, it's quick and easy, very powerful tool. What mindset shift helped you stop chasing tactics and start building systems? What mindset shift helps you stop chasing tactics and start building systems? I read Tim Ferriss's 4-Hour Workweek, and the goal is to create a passive business that generates enough revenue to free you up to do what you really love. And so everything that we've done has been through that lens of creating these assets that free us up, not assets that trap us. Because if you create a really big entertainment YouTube brand, for example, then you need to keep entertaining. If you're a dancing bear, you only get paid when you dance. And so we've always focused on long-term value and then building systems. Because one of the things when you get started is the repetition kills people. It gets really boring. But a mindset shift is that the repetition is what's going to cause innovation. So the monotony and the repetitiveness of doing a task over and over again is going to force you to evolve and find better, quicker, faster ways to do that. And so, especially if you're a coach or a consultant, expert, you just need to get started, even though it's painful and it's going to be ugly. But through that pain, you're going to find better, quicker ways to do it. And then you do that over and over again. And then the business can become really efficient. When you're deciding, when you were deciding to add something new, what question do you ask yourself? So we always say more, better, new. It's a thing from Alex Ramosi. So if you're going to grow your business, the first thing you do is you do more of what's working, and then you do what is working better. So more, better, and then only then do you add something new. And so if we are in a position where we decide to add something new, my rule is that even if it fails, we need to end up in a better position than we were when we started. So when you add something new, you want to make sure it's Scott Adams, fail at everything and still win big. So even if we fail at this new thing, are we still going to be in a better position afterwards, right? Hopefully it's successful, but if we fail, are we still going to be in an improved position? That's the framework for how to fail at everything and still win big. What did you automate first? What did you intentionally keep manual? So we automated email first. So the first thing we did was we got a collection, something to collect an email, and then we automated 5 emails afterwards. So they would sign up, they would get their free video, and then we would send them 5 emails that added value, that told them who we were, and then ultimately made an offer to buy our membership. So then the game becomes you just drive all your traffic to grow your email list, and the automation can kick in and sell for you while you sleep. What's a result you're most proud of because it's boring and repeatable? I'm most proud of the effort that my wife put in to create all the YouTube videos that are driving the business. She's got very high standards, created a great product, and marketing or having strategy, which I'm the strategist for her business, is a lot easier when the products are really great. And so that was a tremendous amount of time and effort. And because she did such a great job, the business is doing really well. If someone feels behind or overwhelmed, what should they focus on this week? If someone feels behind or overwhelmed, what should they focus on this week? So the number one thing is to figure out, you're going to have 5 constraints in your business, right? So you're going to have a leads constraint, a conversions constraint, a delivery constraint, an ascension constraint, or retention. So there's only 5 problems that a business has. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, you have to figure out what's the number one constraint right now. If you think of it like a hose, the hose is kinked. Where is the kink? And then you just put your attention on that. And that's really what you do every day. So you figure out what is the constraint? How can I solve it? Move on to the next constraint. Because once you solve one constraint, another one's going to develop in the business. So if you're feeling overwhelmed, just simplify it, figure out what the constraint is, and work on that. What's one belief about growth that you changed your mind on? One belief about growth that I've changed my mind on. I think with interest media, if you guys know the difference between interest media and social media is what it used to be, where people follow you, they follow the person, they're like a fan of you, and they follow the posts that you make, and that's how it used to be. It's not like that anymore. Now it's interest media. So the algorithms will share, if you're interested in yoga, they'll share yoga stuff with you, but they're not following yogis as much. So the one thing that I've changed my mind on for growth is that if you want to grow, you have to focus on just interest media, and you're not going to do as much brand building around your brand and what you believe in, because people aren't interested in that. No one cares about you. They're interested in these things, so you have to create content that they're interested in. So I think in the future, it's going to be more content that people are interested in and then less personal branding, although that will be really important. But I think in terms of growth, you want to focus on what are the most people interested in, and then how can you make it for them? What's a tool you think most people don't need? Now, I think most people should just use Skool, and then all the other tools that people use can go away. So, a lot of times people will have, they'll have a Shopify store, they'll have an email software, they'll have, maybe a CRM, they'll use a bunch of Zapier, they'll use Zoom. You don't need Zoom anymore. So the old software stack in order to run a coaching business online was all of these softwares, and Skool has basically replaced all of those. There's a couple other softwares that are good, but just in terms of like simplicity, which is the number one thing that coaches need if they're going to be successful, Skool replaces almost everything that you need in order to make enough money to free yourself up to do what you really love. Something everyone is doing that you've opted out of. Until recently, everybody was doing social media and I'd opted out, but I am back in the social media game now. As you can see, I'm creating this video and I'm doing some experiments on Instagram. And so for a while, it was social media. Another thing that I've opted out of that a lot of people do is working out. I don't do any working out or training anymore. I do lift every day, but the way that I do it is I do 1 or 2 reps, lift really heavy, and I have my kettlebells right next to me. And so I just do that throughout the day. So, people usually do these 20-minute workouts or an hour-long workouts. I think I work out for maybe 4 or 5 minutes a day, maybe. And I feel really good because of it. I feel really strong, I feel really healthy, and I think it's funny because if you implement something, it's called greasing the groove, you can get really good results. And so I think people spend a lot of time working out and they don't necessarily need to. What's one rule you try to follow every day? I try to get everything important done before 11 a.m. And so understanding what the priorities are and then putting in the work during my best 4 hours of time is really important because then I can relax in the evening. I also have the evening wide open. And so I guess there's 2 rules I'd like to share. One, get everything done before 11 a.m., everything important. And for me personally, different than other people, I love having an empty calendar and I hate having stuff on my calendar because even if I have one call in the day, my whole day becomes warped around my schedule. And I like to think about what I want to think about and watch videos what I want to watch about. And so I like having an empty calendar. So I've designed my business to keep my calendar mostly empty. But other people like having a full calendar because they feel like they're being productive, and that's fine too. Where should people go if they want to see how to actually implement some of these strategies? So if you want to learn to build a solo entrepreneur business, join the operator room. There's a link below this video, and you can apply. There's a bunch of other solo operators in there. We've got a good Instagram course on how to weaponize Instagram using carousels, and we share some other information as we go. So if you want to build a one-person business or a small team, join the operator room and work with me directly. All right, that's all for this video. I'm going to end it, and then I'm going to export it, and then I'm going to drop it right here into Opus Pro. It's going to give me about 30 or 40 shorts, and you'll see those coming out as well. So hope this was helpful. Have a good day. Interview yourself and make a bunch of shorts, and that way you don't need to spend hours creating content every day.